Right now at 6, a deadly windstorm in Washington sends trees toppling onto homes.
Just sitting watching TV on the couch. And then next thing you know, pitch black.
How one family in Kelo narrowly escaped tragedy.
Plus, putting the spotlight on mental health and wellness. One woman's story about how she found her way forward through seasonal depression.
This isn't something that I can just escape or try and win over.
And an Oregon winemaker soars to new heights.
Once you're in the top 10, it's pretty rarefied air.
The local Pinot that's now been named one of the world's best. Cleanup continues after a stormy night across the Northwest. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. The Portland metro area was spared the worst of the wind from last night's bomb cyclone, but that was not the case for areas to our north. Falling trees killed 2 people overnight in the Seattle area. A woman near Bellevue was killed when a tree fell onto her home, and a homeless woman died in Linwood, which is about 30 minutes north of Seattle, when a tree fell on her encampment. Another 2 people were hospitalized after a tree fell on their trailer.
And trees brought down by the winds also disrupted travel in North Seattle. A tree fell onto a King County Metro bus. No passengers were on board, and the driver was not injured. And on the rails from BC to Seattle, an Amtrak Cascades train struck a tree that had fallen onto the tracks. Close call here, with the engineer taken to the hospital, treated and released.
We've got team coverage tonight. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafino in the Weather Center with the latest. But first to Devin Haskins, who's live in Kelo, where a tree fell on a home. Devin, scary situation there.
Yeah, it is, and the family's been here all afternoon trying to clean up this massive mess after that tree smashed down on their Kelo home. Talked to the mom, who says her 2 daughters, ages 19 and 3, were the only ones home at the time. Slightly injured, doing better now, staying with family, but the family shaken up about what happened.
They were sitting right there where this fell, see?
Claudia Ramos can't believe her eyes.
No.
A tree with a 3-foot wide trunk fell on the roof, just feet above where her 2 kids were sitting.
Man, this is crazy.
Her 2 daughters, lucky to be alive.
Sorry, it's a lot. But,
For her, an emotional experience.
it is because I wasn't here to protect them, you know, so it's hard. But I'm just thankful that they're okay, and, you know, it could have been worse, but they're alive.
On Tuesday night around 7:45, a windstorm was brewing when it uprooted a tree just feet from her home.
It's scary, it's terrifying.
Her 19-year-old daughter, Elena, and 3-year-old daughter, Zuri, were inside and the only ones home at the time.
Yeah, just sitting watching TV on the couch. And then next thing you know, pitch black, she's waking up, you know, here's Zuri's crying.
Claudia says her older daughter, Elena, had scrapes on her face and suffered a concussion, and says Elena protected her younger sister, Zuri.
It definitely hits me in all the feels, you know, like she just, you know, her instincts kicked in, and it was gotta save my sister, you know, we gotta get out of this house.
Zuri had scrapes and bruises on her legs.
Zuri's nonverbal, so it's really hard to, you know, gauge what her emotions are like, but she was just calling for mommy, you know, and she seems okay. She seems like she's back to herself.
A day later, the family trying to salvage what they can. Claudia knows the home she's been renting is a complete loss, but says she's lucky they had renter's insurance.
The tree came in through it looks like the bathroom, like part of the master bedroom.
So the family's still here again, cleaning up right now. Once they get done here tonight, they'll head to their temporary home, staying with family until they can sort things out. Red Cross is also helping them out. Back to you.
Yeah, such a difficult situation, but so glad everyone is okay. Devin Haskins, thank you so much.
Just one story of survival. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafino now. So Matt, what are you watching?
Well, we're going to go over the wind gusts that we had from the bomb cyclone last night. The strongest ones, no surprise, on the Oregon coast. We had a gust. Well, here are the rainfall amounts. First of all, you can see that. We'll back up and you see the storms forming still off the coast right now. Had some good lightning strikes there. We had that tornado warning in Grays Harbor County. That expired. Never got a tornado on land, but there were waterspouts spotted offshore. Now, again, those rain amounts that you see here for you. I'm going to try to get to the wind amounts in just a second here. So It was a healthy amount of rain, over 2.5 inches at Depot Bay, Vernonia 2 inches, Kalama had 1.52 inches, over an inch there at Tillamook as well. And you can see right now, you got the storms off the coast here. This is Seaside, Cannon Beach, Astoria. So we may yet get a few lightning strikes on shore, raining hard on the Long Beach Peninsula right now too. So we'll be watching that very, very carefully. And again, the lightning strike threat is not that great. Coast could get a couple tonight, but I think things are going to begin to settle down. Portland, since midnight, the rainfall has been pretty light, only 0.26 of an inch there, which is great. We get a chance to dry out a little bit. This has largely been beneficial rain for us. Okay, now those peak wind gusts for you. Here you go. Newport had a gust of 73 miles an hour, Crown Point 63. These are all mainly east winds except at the coast where they eventually turned and came from the south last night. But that's one reason why we avoided big winds in the Portland area proper. The strong winds all east of I-205 or on the coast. The high surf advisory will be allowed to expire in just a little bit here, but we're still getting swells over 20 feet. Coming up, we'll talk about the next storm that's going to approach the coast late tomorrow night. Guys?
Yeah, glad you're keeping us updated on the changing conditions. Thank you, Matt. In your headlines, Portland police detained a person for questioning after a deadly shooting this morning at a Northeast Portland hotel. It happened around 7:15 at the Quality Inn near 82nd Avenue and Sandy Boulevard. A man was found in the parking lot with a gunshot wound. He died on the way to the hospital. Officers searched the hotel earlier this afternoon and detained a person, but have not said if that person is a suspect.
In Albany, school is canceled tomorrow as the teacher strike drags into a second week. This morning, teachers and supporters rallied outside district offices ahead of another mediation session. The district says there's been some movement on key points, but the union expressed frustration in a Facebook post saying it is signing a community organized petition demanding the school board resign.
Oregon's chief economist told lawmakers today that the state is projected to have nearly $38 billion available to spend in the next two-year budget cycle. For us, it could also mean a potentially bigger kicker. Every couple years, if income tax revenue is 2% or more than economists predict, taxpayers get a kicker tax rebate. This year, we had a record kicker at $5.5 billion returned to taxpayers. The 2026 kicker is projected to be a little under $2 billion, which is more than originally anticipated. The Story team is taking a deeper dive into the numbers at 6:30.
And we have an update on the Oregon State House race that remains too close to call. Democrat Leslie Munoz widening her lead over incumbent Republican Tracy Kramer from 104 to 119 votes. For the moment, that is above the automatic recount threshold. If Democrats flip District 22 in Marion County, they will have a 3/5 supermajority in both chambers, giving them power to pass legislation, including tax-related laws, without any Republican votes. By the way, if your ballot was flagged for signature verification, you have until next Tuesday to cure it with the county clerk.
This evening, we are beginning a new series here at KGW on mental health and wellness, inspired by the PSAs that you may have seen, showing KGW journalists and community members throwing paint at a canvas.
Really important topic here tonight. Lois Cho, the CEO and co-founder of Cho Wines, talks about her experience with a particular type of depression and how she's found her way forward.
I grew up in a Christian family with the father as a pastor. I think there's a lot of stigma around mental health. I just push it on the rug and hide it. I think that was a lot of like the culture that I grew up in that either you have to push through and overcome it or hide it and not show it. I was a family nurse practitioner, so I knew.
You knew
so
something was up.
Yeah. I'm Lois Cho, CEO, co-founder of Cho Wines, and I struggle with seasonal affective disorder. I always describe it as this like heaviness on my chest, not wanting to get out of bed in the morning, not being fully present.
Every day for days and weeks on end?
Every day, yep. I would have a lot of dark thoughts and like maybe it's better for me not to be here. And those are scary thoughts to have when you have a family and a partner. The counseling helped in some respects, but I realized that it wasn't enough. And so I actually ended up taking antidepressants. And I think at the time I really wanted it to be something that would go away really quickly.
In 2020, Lois says she tried to escape, fleeing the Northwest with her husband, Dave, and their 3 children.
I told them Mom is having a really tough time, and sometimes I get really sad when it's very gloomy and rainy, and so we're going to California to be around family and son. And so they were, okay, it was normalized. All right, that's why we're going.
And did running to Southern California work?
No.
Why not?
Because it was the pandemic.
The pandemic was her turning point.
For me to realize, like, I need help. And this isn't something that I can just escape or try and win over.
Obviously, you know, I'm a chronically happy person, so the depression, I didn't know much about it.
It looks good.
And it took time, Lois says, for Dave to learn how to respect what she was feeling.
So in the beginning stages, it was a lot of like, try and snap out of it.
Totally not getting it.
Yeah.
And how to best support her.
I mean, being open about it and, you know, bringing that to light, I think it's the best thing we can do to our, you know, teach our kids.
In 2022, the Chos returned to Oregon, planting the roots of their dream. So what do you do to take care of yourself?
Actually, I went to the gym this morning at 5 a.m. I'm wearing really warm socks right now. I take nice warm baths.
And in this patch of Pinot, quickly creating a community.
If you'd like to do a tasting, you walked in a really good day because we do have a guest winemaker today, so you get 2 tastings for the price of 1.
That transformed what Lois used to call her season of darkness into a season of opportunity.
Because I'm not alone during harvest anymore. I'm not alone during the winter months.
And while she admits, yes, she is anxious over what the next few months could bring,
100%, always.
Lois now calls the loss of daylight and the change of seasons, which makes it possible to grow and sustain their family's livelihood, a gift.
Acceptance is loving all the parts of me, not just the happy parts. It's a process that I've learned to cope with and realize these are cycles that come, and when it does happen, now I know how to deal with it. Because depression is very lonely, and it seems like you're in a cone of loneliness and nobody understands. But the only way out of it is to talk about it.
And by talking about it, Lois says she's normalized being open about mental health in her family, breaking the stigma and setting an example for her children, who now, she says, aren't afraid to share how they are feeling. A reminder, if you're struggling with mental health or thoughts of suicide, there are resources available 24/7. Just call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That number is 988. We've also put together some information about seasonal affective disorder, along with an extended Q&A with Lois Cho. My thanks to her. That is available for you now at KGW.com.